This video is brought to you by Kenlake State Resort Park. Kenlake is a beautiful lakefront resort with cottages, a lodge, and a campground nestled on the shores of Kentucky Lake. And with well over 100 miles of single track and gravel forest roads and neighboring land between the lakes and area trail systems, Kenlake is your western Kentucky gateway for cycling exploration. For information or to make a reservation, visit bit.ly/Kenlake. Your Kenlake adventure awaits.
Hey guys, it's Nathan from the Kentucky Cycling YouTube channel. We are down in Madisonville, Kentucky in Hopkins County at the Grapevine mountain bike trail system. And I'm here with James Sargent, who is the trail steward, and he is going to lead us on a Trail Gnome tour today. For those of you who aren't familiar, the Trail Gnome Tour series is basically aimed at allowing the trail steward to highlight the work that they do. They put a ton of volunteer hours in to make just great trail systems all over Kentucky. I myself am a wheels on the ground, slow roller kind of guy, so you're not going to see any jumps or anything from me today, but you might from this guy, so I'll just go ahead and throw that out there. And James, if you would, tell us a little bit about the history of this trail, because I know there's kind of been an evolution of sorts.
Sure. I grew up here, and when I say I grew up here, that was less than a mile away. I still have a house owned on the edge of the tracks here, and as a kid, we used to come up here to this area. It used to be an old coal mine area.
Oh, wow.
So the strip mines had gone through and finished, and it just grew up 200 acres with the lake here, and the lake was a city water supply at one point in time. So it did have a lot of activity, but it transitioned into mountain biking while I was off in college. The team here worked to make it a mountain bike loop, but they kept fighting obstacles. Some of those were the tornado that came through in 05, the ice storm, and then the city actually came and logged it. So you know what that does to canopy and the trail systems after they log. So the trail system here has been here for decades. It just wasn't solidified in the park as a trail system.
So tell us about the sort of that next evolution that it made from that sort of old school, maybe more rugged mountain bike trails to it's had some professional hands on it. Maybe facelift is too strong a word, but you know, put a really nice polish, taking it down, and then you know, put some real nice flow in, right? So tell us about that process.
I think the big thing was that when I was able to come back right before COVID, and me as an avid mountain biker, I'd ridden my bike all over the world. What was exciting was the opportunity to have this land this close to my home, right? The potential was here. The guys did a great job that was here, but there was a little hint that the city was looking to make this an RV park.
Oh, wow.
I remember going into the first meeting, and he said, yeah, after the RV park, showing me a diagram, you might have 2 or 3 miles still left to ride. Thanks. So you take our 7+ miles down to 2.5, you know. So the thought process at that point in time was, I need them to understand that this could be a great part of our community because we are a city of parks. We have 5 other parks here with different amenities. How can Grapevine Lake become one of those parks that people want to go to? So I asked for 3 things. I said, I will provide you a plan if you allow me to come back with a faster ROI, a less environmental impact, and the ability to get the right type of people to come and see your town. So if you allow me to do that, I'll come back with a plan. And it worked.
That's
he
great.
said, you bring a plan, I'll listen to it. So at that point in time—
Is this like the county judge executive or the mayor?
Oh, that's a really good point. It was the actual mayor.
Okay.
One of the things I did kind of early was I went in and this basically was a question and answer, very Socratic way. And I had a one-on-one with the Economic Development, President of Chamber of Commerce, the county judge executive, as well as the mayor, asking questions about what individually they thought the future of our county was, or the future of our town. Understanding more about their directions individually before I let them know that we were going to make this a destination. So being able to go back with that information that they had, we could kind of craft the story a little better, find the data that made the most sense, and then communicate, this is what we need to do.
And I'll say that I haven't been out here yet. I'm really looking forward to it. You've developed quite a reputation of this being just an awesome trail system, a real bright spot among trails throughout the state. So tell us about the trail system that it's out here today.
Well, one of the things that we needed to do was bring some professional level to the area to make sure that the city saw this as a solidified place. So contacting the Southwest Kentucky Mountain Bike Association allowed me to kind of get some structure behind how we do this. And then I put some project management structure together to explain what it is we could possibly do. 2 years ago today, actually, we had the conceptual design built with Richard Dixon and some Southwest Kentucky Mountain Bike Association members. We wanted to make sure that the trail met some of the guidelines through IMBA as well as the trail builders. So we went through the Trail Builders Association structure to allow this to be the driver for the presentation. We presented to, along with Vince Carmen, who's here with us today, and Richard Dixon, to the mayor the second time around, explaining what our trail system was, what we needed to do, and what needed to happen here. When they said, that sounds great, that's when the real work began.
Yeah.
So within 9 months, we were getting the feelers out. We were looking for builders. We had around 6 or so come in, maybe 8 to come into the location, and I met each one here, walked them throughout the entire landscape, and then said, what do you think? We got the bids out. Rogue Trails came in out of Arkansas with a great plan. They were very detailed in their plan. That was one of the things that I was looking for. How many pictures? What have they done in the past? And that allowed us to feel comfortable saying, let's pull the trigger. Although they were not the least expensive, they definitely showed up as probably being the most professional structured trail builders out of the batch.
Awesome. So what are the qualities of this trail that we're going to ride?
So what we decided to do was to make the trails a little bit different than what they were before. More smash mouth mountain biking, what we call it back in the day. Now we have a trail system that's we call rhythm and flow. A side's rhythm, B side's flow. So some people still call it A and B.
Okay.
We call it rhythm and flow in the aspect of the trails are slightly different, but they're really flowy on both sides. One of them has more some drops and rolls and berms and flows, where you can get some speeds up. And the other one just basically you hit a rhythm and you just keep on flowing. It's about a 4.5%, 5% grade from the top to the bottom. It flows very well both ways. And it actually changes direction each day. We were anticipating having some traffic, and at our grand opening, we had 86 people here. Walkers, riders, to actually enjoy the trail at the same time, so it worked great. Bikers went one way, walkers went opposite, and then the next day, every biker and hiker went a different direction. So therefore, we could have a community-style trail system that gets you up to some good speeds, but allows for the fun for a beginner as well as an avid biker. Today, we are Friday, and Friday direction is going to be clockwise.
Okay.
So the clockwise is, we'll hit flow first, and we'll have about a halfway trip, about 4 miles into the bottom of the trail system where the lake or boat dock is. Then we have another 4 miles out. Roughly it's about 8.3, 8.4 miles is the entire trail. We added just about a mile when we brought the guys in, and it's a really great fast flowing trails. And one of the guys said to me, if you like hiking and you like roller coasters, you're gonna love this trail.
Okay. Well, good. Okay. Well, we're very looking forward to riding this today. And I will say also, you've got a really nice structure behind us here. There's water at the trailhead. There's a couple of bathrooms that have running water, and you can
Air-conditioned bathroom.
Oh, look at that! Air-conditioned bathrooms, or you can change clothes and whatnot. So, a nice parking lot here. Really nice infrastructure that I guess the city of Madisonville has put in. If they're looking for a map, there's obviously one at the trailhead. I'll include a link to the one on the Southwest Kimba website in the YouTube description. Well, we're looking forward to riding, and we'll hear more from James throughout the ride as he tells us about little features of the trail.
I want to do a special thanks to the trail crew. That's Jason Rickard, Brian Perdue, Shane Hawkins, and BJ Hawkins for continuously keeping up the trail and making sure we have a great place to ride. So, ride on, guys. So we started on the flow side, and getting in the flow side or B side, before about half a mile, you'll come to this component here where it actually has a signature Rogue Trail design. These are the guys from Arkansas. This is one of their logos, and this is actually a nice little kicker jump with some speed. So it's definitely one of the signature components of the trail system. We'll head down to the skinny, and then we'll drop down into a nice little bowl area that leads us to the bottom part of the trail.
Nice.
Come to the top of the area here on the B side. We're about a mile in, and you're going to come up to a gravel road where we start the rail line. And the rail line is a Strava segment, and it takes about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes to get around, but it's a really fun go. As we're still on the flow side, this next section is the rail line. It actually goes right down the railroad tracks and then digs back in. So definitely fun flow. About 2.5 miles in on the B side or flow side, Friday's direction, we come to an area where we call the fast part of B. And it's nice and flowy. It has a little bit of a signature of Ben Halls and Rudy Mines. So you'll notice the feel of that part of the trail system because we actually had the trail team go to Ben Halls to learn and then come back and say, this is what we like, add this in please. So good ride. great. You basically, after you hit flow on a Friday section or B-side, you come to this halfway point, a little over 4.5 miles or so. And then you get the big, beautiful view of the lake, and then you get to jump back in for another 4 if you're ready to go, or climb the hill back to the parking lot. So kind of a midpoint, guys. I think we should continue going. So great, guys. We've now entered the rhythm side of the day, and we are on a section that we were able to get a collaboration between Southwest Kemba and the city. The trail system itself, when it was developed, we actually got a chance to show the activity through Strava riders from coming all over to show that this was a place that we would need to continue to maintain as well as enhance. And this section is one of our newest sections that we put together in collaboration between the city and Southwest Kemba. So let's give it a ride.
Nice. There's the lake.
On the entry and flow day or clockwise day, about 8 miles into the trail system, into the loop, you'll get to where you'll see a black line. It's a black line because there's some gaps in the jumps, and it spits you right back on the trail, but definitely a kind of a good clean flow to hit and just kind of flow on down to the next section of the trail. So definitely a good day, good run. So we are at the parking lot, top of the hill at Grapevine Recreational Trails, and where we are is it's a crossroads between Snake Pit and Dinner Table. These are two downhill lines roughly around 1,200 feet long that are focusing on Snake Pit is basically all berms with a couple jumps, and then Dinner Table are all tabletops. So you can get your exercise in between either one of these, and they're sessionable. They start at the road and they end at the road. So therefore you can just turn right back around and come back up. This is a directional top to bottom trail. So you enter in at the top and you spit out at the exit onto the road. So they session by just coming back up the road.
Nice.
So Hayden's Loop is definitely a representation of the next generation for kids to actually be involved with Trail Steward, come out and actually volunteer days, as well as just a place for them to begin. Hayden's Loop is a 0.1 mile conditioned trail to help you understand what is out there in the entire 8-mile trail system. It's got a little bit of berms, some little rollers, some off-camber turns, just a kind of a good little way to warm yourself up to let you know what's out there if you're a very beginner. Hit Hayden's Loop, you'll get an understanding of what the entire trail system. And Hayden Purdue, the son of Brian Purdue, our previous trail steward and definitely trail champion still to this day, it was his son. This is actual pictures taken of him, of his son actually on the trail while we were developing this. It was very cool to see him kind of just say, we're going this way on his push bike. So definitely represents a new next generation, and excited that we got kids kind of involved in the early age. So Hayden, to all the Haydens out there, this loop's for you.
As always, we hope you found this content useful. If you did, please like the video and consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks.